thrill is fear. Daredevils. From our studios in Los Angeles, here is Maria Shriver.
Good evening. Who in their right mind would go over a waterfall in a kayak? The man you're about to meet.
I'm going to the moon. I need something to believe in. I'm going downtown to find me a stranger to lay with.
What is this deal with not feeling fear? Do you think it's because that chip that most of us have in the back of our head isn't there in your head?
Your bad state of mind. Oh, la, la, la. Oh, la, la, la. I'll make my money, breaking my body, selling
The feeling in extreme kayaking is being able, with your technique and your skill, to maintain some kind of control. And some people would call that a pseudo-control because they say that Mother Nature can do what she wants with you whenever she wants. I believe they have something a little different in their brain. They see the world a little bit differently. They don't see it as black and white with boundaries and lines. I think they see it as a world of possibilities. After the log choke falls and after the world record waterfall, I ceased to try to stop them. I ceased to try to talk them out of it. Maybe it's a little bit that Tao has something to prove. You know, there's the Napoleon complex. Napoleon was a short guy who tried to take over the world. Tao he's not tall in stature, so maybe that contributes to it. I'm not really sure if it's just in his mind, if it's a chip on his shoulder, if it's a little bit of both, if he just really has no fear. I really don't know.
Perhaps that's why people do extreme sports. We're tapping into something that gives us a feeling where we have some kind of control, at least within ourselves. You know, it's a place in which one can tap one's potential beyond that everyday self.
Wherever we are, we're alone. We're a ways away from anything, which is one of the different things about this extreme sport is like, there's no ambulance waiting. You mess up and, you know, it's remote. Tao is doing these things over and over and over again and not a scratch. We've gone around and around about the fearless thing. He thinks that there's some way you can get an adrenaline rush without feeling fear. The vertical distance descent record, he's sliding down this cascade and he hits a rock and it spins him around. The question is he doubting at that point? Is there fear involved? I'm sure there's adrenaline involved. I'm sure of it.
From what I've seen him, he is really cautious, which sounds kind of contradictory to what you see. So, I mean, he really studies the lines and what could possibly happen here, what could happen there. I think he's cool with the idea with dying, I think.
It's more calming than anything. And the only way I can get so focused with my life and with everything that I'm doing is to put everything on the line, knowing that I simply can't afford to make a mistake. Came up to a rock to do this play move. It had sucked me under my kayak and plastered me against the back of the rock with the whole current of the whole river hitting me. So I'm trying to decide which direction to push off to, because one direction means air, the other direction means further under the rock and death. And I'm not really sure, right? So I'm just looking for light, seeing which way I think is up, because it's so disoriented. And I think I know the direction, and I just push off and scrape along the rock and then pop up. Thinking back on it a couple minutes later, I knew the significance of it. I mean, it almost killed me. But I was like, if I knew I could live every time, I would go right back under there and do it again, because it was so much fun. A lot of people think that things will just happen, or that things happen for a reason. And it's possible that things happen for a reason, but I believe you could also make things happen yourself. Oh, Mead, you should be pitching a reality TV show, a reality extreme TV show with me. It's all about having, in my opinion, the right personality and in the right environment also. I think that with the right people that are editing it and shooting it in a creative way, and shooting the right things, you shoot everything so you wouldn't miss anything, right?
My vision would be like turn it into a kind of like a reality TV show, only with extreme athletes. It would have huge crashes. So it'd be really attractive to people who love to see huge carnage, and which everybody kind of does. Yeah, I never ran the kind of stuff Tao runs. But I guess in kayaking, everybody challenges themselves at whatever level they're comfortable with. If fear was too great, I wouldn't run it. What I do is comb these topographic maps that show how much the land drops off. We found this place that's probably an hour and a half away from here that has two gradient lines. Every line is 330 feet where the land drops off, and it drops two of those lines, so that means there's probably waterfalls in there. So we're going to go check this out and see if it's waterfalls or not. This is so remote that, I mean, you gotta go a long way, like 20 miles out of your way on a dirt road, or 15 miles on a dirt road, 5 on a paved. And
Yeah, but 70, 75 miles an hour on a dirt road won't take long. For years, I was doing things in my kayak that people, really everybody said, Tao, you're gonna die. You're gonna die next year, you're gonna die the next drop, you just can't do this stuff. And I was doing it long before I ever had a sponsor or the companies even knew that my name was Tao Berman. To me, it didn't start out that way, and it's not ending that way. It's not why I do it. I would say that if anything, having all the sponsors and the media and all that type of stuff makes me probably be more careful than I've ever been before, because I have more on the line. If I'm always one injury away from the end of my career. If I make one bad decision, I'm running first ascents and huge waterfalls and drops all the time, and if I make one bad decision, my career is over. Sometimes I definitely ask myself why I take the risks that I do, and I don't have a good answer for it. Right. I think it would be crazy for me to be doing what I'm doing if I didn't passionately love it.
When people see that stuff in the mainstream, they just see the quick clips of the kayaker hucking himself off a waterfall or slide or rapid, and that's all it looks like it is to them. They don't see the time scouting or the time studying or the time learning about the elements. I guess Tao argues that he doesn't have fear, but I think the rest of us that know that we can die, we kind of know what we can get away with. And I think the people that are kind of mad about that, I think they're jealous they don't really have the guts to do it. I know I'm jealous when I'm kayaking and I get to a rapid that it's just like, I'm just too scared to do it, and I see like Tao or somebody else do it just fine. There's a part of me that's just a little jealous that I didn't do it.
This may sound arrogant and naive, but you need to go into everything believing that you cannot be hurt. Because at that level, you can't afford to doubt yourself. You simply can't. If I went into it and I thought I may be injured, I truly believe that I would. Oh, these guys better pull over.